Okay, we're picking up where we left off last time. We're now on to albinism. Now, has anyone ever been to Gatorland in Orlando, Florida? There is like an alligator and crocodile zoo. And they have three white alligators. And they say that one or two of their alligators is albino. The other one has leucism. Leucism is not a common trait, but it's a known trait in animals where they're white, but they're not albino. I'm going to tell you how you can tell the difference between leucism and albinism. Albinism is where there's pretty much no pigment. There's no pigment in the skin. There's no pigment in the eyes. There's no pigment in the hair. So when you have a lack of pigment, you are very white. Eyes can be like super, super, super crystal blue or just pink. Why would eyes be pink? The blood flow behind the eyes. The eyes have no pigment. So you see the blood flow behind the eyes. That's why they appear pink. And even the hair can be white or blonde. Albinism is an absence of melanin, and it makes you super duper sensitive to light and sun. Skin cancer and sunburn is automatic. If you are walking from like the mall to the back of the parking lot, you're probably going to get a sunburn. And within minutes, you have no pigment. Remember, the more pigment you have, the more defended you are from the sun. That's why darker skin tones are really well protected from sunburn and cancer. Lighter skin tones, not so much. So, as promised, I want to go back. I'm going to exit out of the PowerPoint here, and I'm going to share with you guys some images of animals with albinism. So I'll switch over the video here momentarily. Let's see if I can find it here. Albinism. There we go. Let's see albinism in animals. Some of these are fake, all right? You got a kangaroo on the top left. I think that line is fake. You got a hedgehog on the right. This little dragon is fake, of course. That gorilla, that's real. Peacock, an albino peacock. All right, check out this tiger. That tiger is albino. Now, as far as leucism is concerned, I'll get to that in a moment. There's a white whale, a white orangutan, hedgehog again, alligator. That tiger is not albino. That tiger it has leucism. Leucism is to animals what blonde to humans is, or what blonde is to humans. There are 19 of you in this class. How many of you are a natural blonde? You're kind of blonde. Oh, is that not your real hair color? So one. All right, you're a natural blonde. Did you dye your hair? You're not blonde. How about your hair is blonde right now without hair dye? That's my point. Okay, so very few of you, one or two of you. If you look at this image on the left with the orange tiger, that's like being a brunette. Almost all of you are brunette, you have dark hair. A white tiger with black stripes is not albino. It just has leucism. So this is misleading. 25 also looking white or albino animals. That is a white animal, it's not albino, it's different. Now, as far as humans are concerned, you see that there's no pigment. It happens in all races. You can see some of the eyes are pink because you can actually see the blue behind the eyes, or not the blood behind the eyes. Okay. All right, let's go back to the PowerPoint, move on to the next condition. We're up to infectious diseases. What causes infection, everyone? Pathogens is the correct answer. And the first one we have here is impetigo. Now, I am having flashbacks to when I was in elementary school. I went to elementary school in the 90s. And I remember seeing a lot of kids having this. I just thought it was like dried spit on their face. I was in kindergarten. I was in first grade. I didn't know what it was. This is definitely not dried spit. This is impetigo. It's a bacterial infection. Is the bacteria a type of pathogen? You bet. Is bacteria alive? Yes, it is. What do we use in medicine to kill bacteria? antibiotics. This is highly contagious. Kids are always touching things and touching each other, and they're spreading this kind of stuff. Kids get very, very, very sick. They get very sick. So their immune systems are weak. So that's why it's easily spread. It can cause blisters or sores on your face and hands. And it's common among children because children are just dirty. After this, I'll show you some more images of impetigo on Google Images, and it's a lot worse than this image. Very, what's the word? Crusty. Yes, Lillian. I'm sorry? It's different. I think it's different. Let me check. That's a good question. All right, let's take a look at impetigo. If you're online, I'll switch it in just a moment. There we go. Here we are. All right, impetigo. So let's scroll down a little bit. I remember seeing the one on the right there on kids. You know, I think it's like dried snot. That's why I was just a kid. I didn't take anatomy yet. No idea. I definitely remember seeing it. Impetigo is not hand, foot, and mouth disease. All right, let's go back in the PowerPoint. Next, we're gonna have acne, something that all of you probably hold near and dear to your face, in your back, and your shoulders. Acne is caused by an overproduction of sebum. Sebum is that stuff that comes from the sebaceous glands, which are on your hair follicles. You have to have lubricated hair so that it doesn't come out all dry from your face, because then you can suffer ingrown hairs. And we're mammals. We are covered in hair. Having a lot of ingrown hairs would not feel very good. Acne is caused by clogged pores with dead skin cells, bacteria, white blood cells, and dirt. Dirt. You can get it on your face, shoulders, back, mostly. Typically accompanied by inflammation and swelling. Now, you guys are towards the end of your adolescent years, you're 16 through 18 years old. Puberty is just about done. The girls pretty much done. Boys start puberty a little bit later, so they end later. The reason why a lot of this acne forms during your teenage years is because your hormones are just going wild. And that's one of the actual causes of acne is just fluctuating hormone levels. I know women today that are 33 years old, 35 years old, and they get acne when they're on their period. It's just the hormone fluctuation. My sister is 50. She still gets zits when she gets on her period. So it happens. It doesn't go away when you're a teenager. It happens. It's just a fluctuation of hormones. There are other causes, which we'll get to momentarily, but I'm going to tell you all this. Take a look at that second picture. That's what do you call acne on your back? Backne. You know, it's not an official term, but you definitely see it. Here's what you all need to do when you're in the shower. Grab, most of you are probably right-handed. Take a towel that's about this long, 2-3 feet. Put in your right hand in the shower, whip it over your back, grab it with the other hand, and scrub that dead skin off your back, because that is how a lot of zits start on your shoulders and back and the back of your neck. That dead skin clogs up your pores like you saw in the video when you walked in today, and that can lead to a lot of sebum forming in the pore, hence a zit, and you can get a lot of zits. So if you take a look on the left, that's a normal hair follicle. You can see that it is attached to sebaceous glands. But if you look on the right, that hair follicle is clogged up and all that sebum is overproducing. There's white blood cells in there because they're trying to fight bacteria. But that dirt is clogging the pore, which means it's all trapped. Now, I know you guys have probably, I remember you probably know what I'm talking about. I remember seeing a little red spot on my cheek or my nose or my lip or whatever. Like, oh, darn, another zit. And you know, it's red, it's too early to pop. You have to wait till that whitehead forms. Then you can pop it if that's something that you're into. Other causes of acne is genetics. Maybe it just runs in your family deeply. That's a cause. Hormonal changes, as I said, puberty, stress, menstrual cycle. Greasy or oily cosmetic and hair products. Ladies, wash your face off from all the makeup that you may wear before you go to bed. That makeup can clog your pores and lead to zits. Certain drugs like steroids, testosterone and estrogen are the male and female steroid hormones. There are some athletes and wrestlers that would take testosterone supplements to get bigger and stronger and more aggressive and more energetic. But one of the side effects is a lot of zits. It's like a grown man going through puberty again. Women too. Some women bodybuilders take testosterone to get bigger muscles. They get covered in zits. It's just a sign that, you know, like it's almost like an adult going through puberty again. High levels of humidity and sweating. I can attest to this. I played high school football. And if you're any other teenage male, you probably empathize. The last thing you're going to do when you're all sweaty is go home and take a shower because the sweat dried off. You're like, I'm good. I'll take a shower later tonight. Too late. Pores clogged. Acne coming soon. Diets high in refined sugar, processed sugar. Not good for you. Now, I am going to show you another type of acne that can be a little more severe than just your traditional acne with a little pimple here or there. It's called cystic acne. Whoops. So let's take a time out from the PowerPoint again. And let's go back to Google Images, share the screen. Okay. I know you've all have seen people with this. They did nothing wrong. It's not their fault. It just happens. Seen that before? Have you seen people with these scars before? I was at the gym yesterday and I saw a man probably my age with that on his face. That is cystic acne scars. It's just really bad acne. And cysts are different than pimples, where a cyst is like a pocket underneath your skin of pus, dead skin, oil, all those different secretions that your body produces. And when it rises to the surface, it can definitely scar your face. Remember, I told you when we learned tissues, your body is not going to care about appearances. Is this person's skin closed? Yeah, it's closed. Your skin is doing its job, but they're definitely scarred. All right. So I'm going to pause my video here because I can't show YouTube videos in class or on Zoom. It just looks weird. I'll show you guys this. Now, this is what y'all signed up for. I'm not going to force you to watch. I'm not going to hold your eyelids open like this, but I would encourage you to watch this gentleman, okay? He has really bad cysts, painful cysts, and he's going to go to Dr. Pimple Popper to get rid of them.
Well, do you mind if I touch the one on your head here? I see one right here. Okay. Then you have something on your scalp? Where is this one? Okay. What's your back too? Oh gosh, poor thing. So you always have cysts here. I don't know what type they are yet. I'm thinking probably epidermoid cysts, but you have a lot of them. Maybe you have steatocystomas. You know, like they have more of a thin wall and they come out like milky like butter.
Don't come back on.
So I have my work cut out for me.
Don't come back on. Better.
He may have every kind of cyst that exists. Let me see if we can try to get as many of the ones that really bother you, because we can't safely, obviously, you know. Oh, are you scared of that? Am I scaring you? I didn't mean to do that. I'm gonna be really gentle. And you'll see once we start doing it, you're gonna be like, oh, that's not so bad at all. I'm gonna be just fine. I guarantee you, actually, you're gonna be just fine. Okay? You're right.
If this were you guys, would you be excited to have this doctor get these cysts out, or would you be nervous? I'd be excited. He's probably in pain. There's a lot of pressure, the stuff inside those cysts pushing against his skin and his nerves. I'd be pumped. Like, let's get this out.
Just a little bit of picture.
And they're going to numb him up. He's not going to feel any pain.
Most terrible thing in the world? I have a lot to do. I hope that Ken can calm his nerves long enough for me to be able to take care of all these cysts. You shouldn't feel anything other than us touching you.
I don't know why it's acting weird right now. I'm not going to play until you guys can see it. Hold on. Got it? All right. Isabel, I'm proud of you. Oh, you like this? Oh.
Like she's just enjoying them so much. Guess what? We're done with that one. This first cyst that I removed was really small. Ken seems to have calmed down now, so now I think it's the time for me to tackle a bigger cyst. Oh, now I see. There's like a threesome here. These are the biggest steatocystomas I've ever seen.
Okay, this one's gonna be.
Growing big.
This one's gonna be good.
You had a rubber band in there. You okay? I'm so happy that Ken is fully relaxed.
I mean, like, I want to watch. Take this thing off of my face.
Next one. You got all colors of the rainbow.
No, you're looking a little green in the gills there.
All right. Two. One more here. The mama.
All right, the sound effects are a little much. That's not real.
It's like a water carrying jug, like a bladder. You carry something in it. It's like a purse. I would say a smaller percentage of them have a smell than do not.
Now, why do they smell? It's infected. Bacteria stink. The other day I was walking out in my car and I just smelled something. I was walking past the mud over there and I was just thinking to myself, did I step in poop or something? I checked my shoes and it hit me. Oh, it's the mud. There's bacteria in the dirt. There's bacteria in the soil. There's bacteria in mud. And when you smell that just aroma of like mud, I know you all smelled it before, that's bacteria causing that. Whenever you smell infection, it's the bacteria. Bacteria doesn't smell good. If any of you had the pleasure of taking the class in college called microbiology, where you work with bacteria once a week in the lab, I remember walking in the lab and it's just like, oh, just bacteria stink. And so if you have infected tissues, it's going to stink.
But a cyst is going to have a smell if it is infected or inflamed, because that's when bacteria is involved. And they smell like old toe jam, like skin that is just wet and has been sitting around for a long time, all mashed in something, and now you're releasing it to the world. What is that going to smell like? It has a good sense of smell, huh? I'm not smelling anything. The important thing for me as a physician is to not make the patient feel embarrassed. He knows that they smell. Everybody in the room knows that they smell, but I'm not going to talk about it. Patients come to me because of something that they're embarrassed about, and I don't want to make them feel more embarrassed. Right? Part two.
That's the back of his head.
Yes.
Okay, Scott?
One more push, and sometimes it'll squirt out. This like you had an 8-year-old in your head. All right, I have 2 more bumps to pop on Ken's back, but he has many more bumps than that, and I just want to make sure I'm getting all the ones that are causing him the most pain. Looking good. All right, let's put stitches and you're done. After 7 pops, we're finally done. I just got to stitch him up and it's good to go. Okay.
Dylan, you had that come out of your back, $10,000. Would you eat it? Yeah. It's your stuff. It's your back. It's your back juice. 50,000. Okay. All right, so that's about it for that video. All right, we'll see more. Let's go back. Okay, come on. Let's speed this up. Let's go. Whoop. All right. Okay, let's see, we got genetics. Athlete's foot. This is a fungal infection. Don't ever let me find out that you guys are foolish enough to walk around a locker room without shoes or sandals on. When I go to the gym, I see guys in the locker room with just barefoot. I'm just like, bye. It's nasty. And that's one of the best ways to get athlete's foot is to have your toes and the little crevices between your toes just be moist from sweat and water and just mushy. You know, if you've been walking around a theme park all day and your feet are kind of sweaty, you can feel it. I bet you guys are rubbing your toes together right now. My toes sweating. Let them air out. Bacteria and pathogens and fungi of all those nature like moist, wet environments. Let them air out. Air those bad boys out. It's very common in foot or other moist, warm areas of the body. Now, you guys are animals. You get your nourishment from putting food in your mouth. A plant is an autotroph. It gets its nourishment from making its own food. How does a fungus get its nourishment? Grace? Say what? How? It does get it from other organisms, but how? You're on the right track. Anybody tell me? She's on the right track. How did they get it? What is that called? It's a decomposer. So most fungi they'll break down, and the proper term is decompose dead and rotting matter. Here's the catch with athlete's foot. You're alive. It's trying to break down your skin and then your dermis and then your epidermis or hypodermis and so on while you are alive. So it's painful. You feel it. Your nerves are awake. Doesn't feel good. Feels burning. Very itchy. The reason they call it athlete's foot is because athletes sweat a lot. Athletes go to locker rooms a lot. Athletes are dirty. Next is ringworm. Ringworm is not a worm. It's not a parasite. It's a fungus. And it typically is in the shape of a ring or a circle. I'll show you some Google images of this. About 5 years ago in Tampa, South Tampa, it rained. You guys may remember this. You were probably in middle school. It rained for 30 days in a row. I'll never forget it. I was stranded in my own house because any direction would have been disaster for my car because the roads were flooded. I remember seeing $150,000 Mercedes out on Bayshore, flooded out, stalled. There were memes going on online like Uber boat going down Bayshore, a whale jumping out of Dale Mabry. It was just Godzilla's coming out of Tampa Bay. It was just raining nonstop. It wasn't a hurricane. It was just rain day after day. And I remember seeing kids playing in the floodwater. And I thought to myself, uh-oh, they're going to be getting some ringworm. Ask yourself, why is there floodwater? Well, it's raining a lot. Okay. Why isn't the floodwater going down the drain into the sewer? Because the sewers are already backed up. So water's not going into the sewer. Water's coming out of the sewer. And so you're splashing around in poop water and diaper juice and other garbage that you're going to get on your skin. So don't play around in the flood water. You don't know what kind of stuff is in that water. Yes. Sweat. The mat, dirty mats. Yep. Probably. Yep. Probably the mats. You have itchy, red, raised, scaly blisters that may blister and ooze, and guys, they're shaped like a circle. I don't know. You know, the question, if you are online, Isabel asked, why is it called ringworm? It's not a worm. I don't know. I think that's worth looking up. I've always wondered that too. It's kind of like when you were in AP Bio. Remember I told you how a red panda is not a panda? I think it might be, it's too late. Once you name it, it's too late to, no take backs. You can't take it back. But that's a really good question. Why is it called ringworm if it's not a worm? That's a fair question. I'd like to find that out. I might Google that later today. Or you could Google it. Tell me. So let's go back to Google Images. Speaking of which, maybe we can have time to look it up right now. And let's take a look at other images of ringworm. All right. Where is my Google? There we go. Okay. Ringworm. All right. You see it's a circular patch. Now, guys, this is a fungus. And as Lily and a few others of you said, a fungus decomposes tissue to get its nourishment. But you're alive. This skin has it real bad. So let's see if we can actually ask that question real quick. How did ringworm get its name? Let's see. Its appearance. Nowhere involved. Ringworm in the body is really. Let's see. Why called ringworm if no worm? I guess we have to do some deeper diving. But the answer's out there somewhere. Why is it called ringworm if it's not a worm? Yes. It can touch other surfaces like Alyssa's mat in school, and then you touch that mat. So, yeah. Yes. Fungicide and antibiotics. All right, next. This is neck fash, necrotizing fasciitis. You know what the nickname of this bacteria is? Flesh-eating disease, flesh-eating bacteria. Now, this is very rare. The CDC gets maybe 2,500 cases of it a year. When you have a country of 330 million people, 2,500 cases, that's 2,500. That's less than the population of Plain High School. That's not that bad. But when you do get it, it sucks. It's a very rare bacterial infection. It can cause necrosis, which is death. Necro means death. Necrosis of the subcutaneous layer of skin. What layer of your skin is that? Your fat layer. What number? 1, 2, or 3? Your third layer. Very good. There's a story in the local news a couple times a year that somebody was out in the Gulf of Mexico or in Tampa Bay and they contracted flesh-eating bacteria. Now, your integumentary system is supposed to protect you. We've mentioned that. So how in the world does this get into your body? You have a cut. In the story I was going to show you, but I don't have time. Long story short, this man from Ohio came down to Florida, went in his kayak, he was fishing, he cut his foot on his hook, and he put his foot in the water. There you go. So sometimes some people walk into the water when they already have an open wound, or they can cut themselves in the water, step on a shell, step on a rock, step on a barnacle. That's a big one. Stepping on a barnacle can really spread it. So be very careful. Yes, Lillian. Days. You see people in the hospital, they just get worse and worse and worse. It can lead to amputation. It can lead to death. Yeah.
So let's say you have a cut, or you're in the or you get a cut, but let's
Try to disinfect it immediately. Don't let it, really establish itself. All right. Now, this one I think is really important because this is more than just anatomy. This is bio for you. And you AP bio students should know this too. MRSA, MRSA, stands for methicillin-resistant Staphylococcus aureus. So this is the last one we're getting to today. I really want you to listen in on me. Is this the last one we get today? 34, yeah. We have about 8 minutes. So, guys, antibiotics, what does anti mean? Against. What does bio mean? Life. Antibiotics are against life. You use them to kill bacteria. Quick question, do antibiotics work against viruses? Absolutely not. So Staphylococcus aureus is like we're Homo sapien. Staphylococcus aureus is a staph infection. Now, methicillin is the antibiotic that fights this particular bacteria. We have made a huge mistake as a society, especially in the medical community, for about the last 75 years. Anytime anybody would walk into a clinic, I have a cough, I have a headache, my eye hurts. Give me an antibiotic. Give me an antibiotic. And the doctors would give it to them. Now we're paying that price. If you allow bacteria to be exposed to antibiotics for decades and decades and decades, what do some of the bacteria develop? Immunity, resistance. That's right. The hand sanitizer that you all may carry, it says guaranteed to kill 99.99%. Here's why they write that. It's not 99.99, but the reason they put that, they don't put 100, is because they can't guarantee it's going to kill 100%, because there are some strains of pathogens that are immune or resistant to the medicines that we give you. So a staph infection is in your tissues. MRSA is like super staph that is resistant to the drugs we use to kill it. And because we've been using antibiotics for decades and decades, the bacteria, they don't have brains, but we say they've gotten smart to it. They have become resistant to it. A staph infection is a bacterial infection. This bacteria normally lives on your skin, and it's fine, but some of it is infectious, is pathogenic. MRSA is a strain of staph that is basically bulletproof. Imagine that your enemy is coming right at you and you shoot him and he doesn't drop dead. That's MRSA. MRSA is bulletproof when it comes to antibiotics that we try to treat it with. Why is it antibiotic resistant? Because it has spent decades being exposed to the antibiotics we give it, and it has adapted. That's what life does. It adapts to its environment. Yes.
I was sitting next to a guy who got this.
How bad did he get it?
Yeah, I mean, he was in the hospital.
Yeah. About 9 years ago, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers had a MRSA outbreak. Their kicker got it. A lineman got it. The kicker almost died. It was pretty bad. It goes past your epidermis, past your dermis, past your subcutaneous, past your muscle. It can even get into your bones. So it gets pretty bad. Here are some signs and symptoms. You can get in the hospital. Hospitals have sick people. One of the best places you can contract COVID? Hospital, where the COVID patients are. Yeah. Staph skin starts as a small red bump and resembles pimples or boils or even spider bites. You might not give it much harm. Oh, it's just a zit. But it can quickly turn into deep, painful abscesses that can be surgically drained, that need to be surgically drained. It can get all the way down to your bone. And that's where amputation is a real possibility. Now, you might be a patient at Tampa General, which is one of the best hospitals in the state and one of the best hospitals in the country. They have a hard time fighting this. It is resistant, guys. It's really tough to kill. Now, it's not just staph that has antibiotic resistance. There is super gonorrhea. You want to hear a little fun fact? I know you guys heard of Tinder. I know you've heard of Bumble and Hinge and all these different dating apps that college kids and young adults use and even older adults use. Here's the problem. You allow something to spread. You allow something to continue to regenerate. It evolves. That's what COVID has done. You heard about this Delta variant? What letter is D in the Greek alphabet? You have alpha, you have beta, you have gamma, you have delta. There's been 4 versions of it. It's evolved. It adapts. Bacteria does it too. And so when you allow something to spread and spread and spread and spread and spread, it adapts, it changes, it mutates. So there's super gonorrhea. People are spreading so many STDs that it's mutating. Syphilis, they're super syphilis, they're super staph. So you gotta be careful. And we will stop there. If you thought today was juicy, wait till we get to burns tomorrow. We'll say that for tomorrow.